it got to my head. But then you get what I'm saying? It got to my head where my ego was controlled. I'm acting off the ego and I'm thinking I'm the shit. I'm thinking I'm bigger than the program. You know what I'm saying? But I'll take this. Life has a funny way of humbling anybody down. You get what I'm saying? If it ain't by putting you in a cast or if it is by a reality check. You feel me? So
Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with the snack cabinet. Bye up. Bye up. Let's get straight to this intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled. So it's done. It finally happened. Lucky Sansu from Hoodstocks decided to invite Swifty Blue to his platform. And there's a lot of disgruntled people out there. A lot of people that said, say it ain't so. It's very so, man. It happened last night. And I'm going to tell you, man, I got a lot of respect for Lucky and his platform. And I can truly say this. I've always respected the Hoodstocks platform because I truly believe that it is the only realest, baddest, biggest, and best Southside platform out there in Southern California, period, right? When you go to Lucky's platform, you don't get no bias. You don't get no aggression. You get nothing but a positive reflection of what you put out there. You get the respectable questions, you give the correct answers, and you don't have to worry about being indicted and put into a catch-22, right? So I respect it. Now, we all know that Swifty Blue is a little bit of a controversial figure. He was out there in the news a while back, and there was a lot of heat around his name, so much so that a lot of people have decided within themselves that they hate on Swifty Blue or that they hate him or that they believe he's not in good standings or that they believe, man, that Swifty Blue is basically a time bomb waiting to go off. I'll tell you guys right now, I've always respected Swifty Blue's talents. I think he's one of the better younger Southern California rappers. I also respected the way Swifty Blue moves in some instances, but I always thought the reasoning behind him getting caught up was this, his big mouth, right? If he had kept his mouth shut in certain instances and certain things hadn't come out of it, he would have probably been all right. He would have probably been in a better position, the kind of position that he has put a lot of guys that are really on and winning Grammys right now, you know, that he should also be in because he put a lot of those dudes on. People like Chito Ranas, people like Lefty Gunplay, and so on and so forth, right? A lot of guys emulate what he did at first, and it'd be a direct bullshit-ass lie if I was to sit here and say that Swifty Blue didn't have a direct impact on their careers, man. He put a lot of people on. So he finally gets his flowers. He gets invited to one of the most notorious platforms on YouTube, Hoodstocks, and he pulls up. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to pull up. A lot of people thought that it was all rah-rah and talk, but Swifty Blue decided to pull up, and you got to respect him for that. Now, there's been a lot of controversy lately going on with Swifty Blue. A lot of people saying that he can't move the way he wants to move around LA or Southern California, period. Eastside Paramount. He can't move around, right? Because Mr. Check-In himself has been chastised and told he is not Mr. Check-In. You are not bigger than the program. You know, when you are a part of a gang or a group that's up under any type of organization or affiliates or associates with Sur Gang, right? Then you need to understand straight up that everything you do and everything you say is a reflection of not only you, but the program. So if you're out running around the internet, social media, running your neck or running away from fights or doing anything that you're doing, you need to understand that that is a reflection and there is probably a DP in your future, also known as a chequeada, right? And I'll tell you right now, having done time with Southsiders, real Sureños and Southerners, hey, nobody wants to go through a chequeada with the Southsider. They don't make you write an essay. They don't make you do some burpees. They don't give you a hug. They don't rip up the wheelie right in front of you. They stab you, okay? And that's just plain and simple because I understand the philosophy. Philosophy being, hey, if we're going to do some time and get caught up on you anyways, we might as well make it fucking count. If you survive and live, you can come back to the yarda ponle, right? If not, bye-bye. Hasta la bye-bye, right? And it's unfortunate and it's not cool, and I'm not glorifying it, but it's facts and it's truth, man, and that's what you're going to get right here. So Swifty Blue pulls up, and Lucky did something unprecedented. He killed the noise. He basically said and cleared Swifty Blue. What does that mean, right? Why does Swifty Blue need a clearance pass? There was a lot of people that thought that Swifty Blue was in bad standings, meaning he couldn't be around Sureños or Southsiders that are actively participating in the program, right? There was a lot of people throwing his name around, throwing him up under the bus just because of things that have happened recently and things in his past. But Lucky cleared all that up. Just inviting him to Hoodstocks and allowing him to be on that platform shows a lot. It shows that Swifty Blue definitely is cleared. It means that he is no longer in bad standings if he ever was, and that he is not a snitch, or has he said anything that could get people or misconstrued and get people caught up, RICO'd, any of that. Because believe me, if that was the case, I understand and I believe that Lucky would not allow that man on his platform, because he don't play that bullshit, right? He's a pretty righteous dude that believes in what he believes in and tends to stay away from the drama and the bullshit. Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Swifty Blue was caught up in a situation, or his name was thrown into a situation, and a lot of people ran with the narrative. About a year and a half ago, 19 people were indicted for what was told to be a conspiracy to end Swifty Blue's life, to get rid of Swifty Blue. Now, a lot of people didn't understand why. Still to this day, there's not an understanding of why. Why was Swifty Blue allegedly targeted to be the end, right? For his end. And again, man, it's none of our business to know why, to delve into anybody's program or situation. You know, all I can merely say is when you're running around social media and the internet and you're trying to be bigger than the program and you're trying to misdirect people into believing that you're something that you might not be, there's going to be people that get upset about that. They're going to, like I say, you're a reflection of a bigger program than just you. And they might say, hey, you're bringing heat. You're shining a negative light. You're making us look bad. And for that, the ultimate repercussion must be had in this. Now, again, this was an LA Times article that came out when these men were arrested, saying that they were targeting Swifty Blue for an ultimate bye-bye, right? And I can tell you this right now. Swifty Blue never came out and said that. Swifty Blue never spoke on people and said that, hey, that's what was going around and that's correct or that's real. He merely gritted his teeth and took all the bullshit from everybody saying that he was a snitch and he was a rat and that he was telling, when he never did that. And now it's a good thing for his safety and security that he goes on Hoodstocks and that Lucky clears him, basically saying, hey, for everyone that's hating on Swifty Blue, that's not the case. He's actually a good, solid dude. He's real. He's cleared, right? Now, what gives Lucky the authority to clear anyone? I'm not saying he does. I'm not saying he is in a position to do that. But just his powerful platform, his words, and that the type of respect he gets from Southerners in Southern California, as well as Norteños up north, right? Because he gets a lot of respect. There's a lot of Norteños that watch his podcast. That's a fact, right? His words ring loud and true. So now hopefully Swifty Blue could run around, man, without having to worry about people that don't know his business trying to fucking figure it out. You know, it's a good thing because, you know, we don't want to see any raza, man, get thrown under the bus or get made look like a fool or something bad happen to him based upon rumors or people just not knowing what the fuck time it is or knowing the real story, right? People are quick to jump the gun and based off of what they hear or what they read and judge someone. In this AI day and age, man, you can't believe shit that you hear because people are going to sugarcoat. They're going to add preservatives to the story and they're going to make it much worse than it truly is. Now, there are 19 guys awaiting trial on this conspiracy case, man. And I wish them all totally the best. And hopefully, man, the law enforcement will get an understanding that this was just all fabricated, made up, and bullshit to paint them in a bad light, and that Swifty Blue never, ever said anything ill about anyone. Now, let's talk about a story about Swifty Blue in the LA County Jail. It was also alleged that when Swifty Blue was in the LA County Jail, he got boo-bopped, meaning he got DP. Is that the truth? There's been plenty of people that have come out and say it is truth. Swifty Blue himself said that while he was in the LA County Jail, there was a lightweight altercation. He never said it was a chequeada. He never said who did it. He never said the reasons behind it. But around that time, Swifty Blue's name was hot in the streets. So there was a lot of people tripping on him, right? So I could understand him going to the LA County Jail and having to answer for some of his discretions and some of the things that he put out on social media. Again, I reiterate to people that like to post things. I did an interview with a youngster from Tulare County, ex-Norteño turned Southsider just yesterday. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a crazy story. And to me, it was basically him looking for a place to lay his home, willing to be embraced by just anybody. And now he's a firm and true believer in his cause. And he's out there acting stupid. And hopefully, no disrespect, but hopefully he gets his shit together or someone gets his shit and pushes it in together. Swifty has never, ever elaborated on that and said the reasoning why. But I think we could all kind of put shit together and understand that around that time, Swifty Blue's name was ringing in the streets and there was people that were upset with them. Now, for him to go into one of the most dangerous county jails in the world, LA County Jail, and make it up out of there with just a scratch, with just a few punches thrown, he's very lucky. Because, you know, from what I hear from the LA County Jail, it can get ugly fast and there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So with that happening right there, that kind of made me think. My journalistic skills kicked in and I said, if he was able to make it, that means either the people that were putting hands and feet on him didn't do the job correctly, or it was merely just a little boo-bop for him to get a better understanding of shut the fuck up. Stop running your mouth, right? Whatever the case may be, he's still here and he pulls up to Hoodstocks. Again, like I said, it was a good interview. If you haven't watched it, I implore you guys to go watch it. It got a lot of the bullshit out of the way. And I think this right here is a good step in Swifty's career and could actually get him to get back on. Because there's no denying that he's very talented. There's no denying one of the good moves that he made recently was making the letter to my ops, all four of them. You know, a lot of people thought he was very disrespectful in what he was saying about Southern California rappers, Southsiders, right, and a couple Sureños. But at the end of the day, man, he was getting whatever animosity he had off his chest on wax. Rather than going out in the streets and hurting somebody or getting hurt, he was putting it on wax and basically challenging anyone to a battle musically. Okay, that's real. When you're a confirmed, respected, you know, a talented rapper, that's what you do. You don't need to make it dangerous. Now, some of the things he said in those songs could be misconstrued as very much so disrespect, or it could be construed like I did as disrespect. And might have to watch out for, he might have to watch out for a few of those individuals. But that's a man being a man. You got to respect it, right? Hey, he's going to make his bed, lay in it, and deal with whatever he deals with when he wakes up. That's part of the game. Obviously, Lucky sees something in him to allow him to be a part of the Hoodstocks podcast after Swifty Blue did go on No Jumper several times. But if you recall, after Lucky's, I'd like to say lightweight beef, it was a one-sided beef as far as Adam 16 goes, right? And Adam tried to throw him under the bus because of the derogatory statement he made that could be misconstrued as being racially profiling, right? But all that's water under the bridge. But because of that, Lucky decided to put out, you know, a clip saying that any Southerner, and it wasn't just that, it was based upon facts, any Southsider or Southerner or representative of Sur Gang that decided to go on No Jumper, they were not going to be allowed to pull up on Hoodstocks podcast ever again. They were not going to be respected. Basically, he was saying, you know, anyone who fucks with that guy right there can't fuck with him. And by him saying it, I took it as he wasn't just saying for Hoodstocks, he was saying for Southsiders, period, meaning that, hey, if you're a real Sureño or Southsider or Southerner or, you know, whatever the case may be, a resident or whatever, and you decide to pull up to that podcast, that's a slap in the face to the Sureño movement, and you basically are ostracizing yourself from the real podcasts, like, of course, Hoodstocks, and I'll even throw in Haters World because he does have a lot of Southerners on there, right? I don't see eye to eye with Haters World. I never will. I know exactly what type of character he is. He likes to take shots and disrespect every once in a while, but at the end of the day, keep doing you, Gordo. I'm not worried about it, right? I'm going to do me. Don't hate, congratulate. Now, when Lucky did put out that clip, there's a lot of people that started scrambling. A lot of people that were like, damn, that's it. We can't go over there anymore. And you know what? I've always said to go over there is a risk. You know, there's indictments that go down. You know, there's a lot of fucking backbiting and shit talking and setups and all these different types of things that happen over there. So that's on you, right? I see recently Tommy Guns decided to pull up. You could tell by the writing on the wall. And that pretty much guarantees he's not going to be embraced or get a hug or any type of good shit from Lucky. And, you know, if he believes that, you know, that No Jumper's the platform for him, then obviously he fits right in with that cast of characters. As far as Hoodstocks goes, he decided to go the other route and interview Swifty Blue. And as controversial as it was actually a good sit down, a good take on what's going on with Swifty Blue. It brought up a lot of good points. Again, I'm not going to get into everything other than the fact that Lucky decided to throw out there that Swifty Blue was solid. He is cleared. There's no verde on him, nothing like that. Okay, and that's a good thing. I'm sure that was Swifty saying, wow, you know, this was a good move. Yes, it was. Absolutely. And to hear the way Swifty talks around or amongst other Southerners, you can see a big difference from when he's on these podcasts like No Jumper and he's just catting out a little bit, because that's what Adam invites. He invites people to cat out so he can get a clip and basically make fun of them at the same time while making a pile of money. Whereas in Hoodstocks, man, you get the real. You get the real story, you get real questions, you get real answers, and I respect it, right? I think Swifty Blue is misunderstood. I think a lot of people, because of things he said in the past, the whole check-in shit, you know, if you understand and you know what time it is and you've been in the game, you understand that the whole check-in vibe that he was throwing out there was bullshit. You understand that it was just basically a play off of people saying from other states and other vaudeos saying that when they go to someone else's vaudeo or hood, they check in. What does that mean? The check-in. It doesn't mean that if you don't, you're going to get hurt. It just is a form of respect. If you're going to be filming a music video, moving around in someone else's vaudeo, especially in the Los Angeles area or even Southern California, period. Northern California is a little bit different, man. Most dudes that go to Northern California do it with a large amount of respect, man. And they know people from there. They got family. That's just how it goes. But you got to understand, Los Angeles, there's a lot of business conducted. So, you know, when people from out of state go to shoot a music video or merely to visit, they necessarily don't have to check in if they're not gangbanging, if they're not representing or making some type of business move. And even then, they're not obligated to check in with anyone, especially Swifty Blue, who's not even from LA. He's from Paramount, right? But at the end of the day, man, he took that as an opportunity to throw something out there. You need to check in with Swifty Blue. And a lot of people took that as he was being disrespectful or he was thinking he was something bigger than he wasn't. And I seen it for what it was, a play. He was just playing and having a good time, and people took it to heart. And that caused a lot of friction and animosity in his life. And it ended up to where literally 19 people were indicted on a conspiracy case. Again, this was LA Times putting out and jumping the gun on an article, man, without us even really knowing what went down. Now, there's a lot of phone calls that obviously are out there. There's a lot of people that were saying things. But that's what happens with AI and social media. A lot of people say things. Okay, these guys will have their day in court, and it is what it is. Again, man, Swifty Blue has never put out there that these men did anything to him, nor did they contact him with any ill intentions. So hopefully that's understood, respected, and seen. And obviously, man, there's somebody or something that, you know, has given Swifty Blue a pass. He's getting to run around and do his thing now. And like I said, going on a verified, certified Hoodstocks podcast can do that for you, can help you. The people that run around on Adam's platform really get bamboozled and tricked into being a trick. The ones that go on Hoodstocks, they leave as they come with respect. I get it, right? So I implore you guys to, again, go over there, watch the Hoodstocks podcast. It was put out last night. My way of thinking is, man, I think this was a correct move for Swifty. I think it cleared up what a lot of people were thinking, that Swifty Blue was in the hat or in a bad situation. You know, that could get people caught up because there's people that don't really know him, that just see what and hear what they see on social media and then run with that. Lucky put that to rest when he brought him on his platform. And obviously when he made the statement saying that dude was a good homeboy and he was cleared, and that's what it is, right? So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this was just a play, man, to help Swifty Blue? Do you think Swifty Blue really is in good standings? I mean, how did he get there? There's a lot of people saying, no, he must have paid or he must have did this. Look, I don't know how anyone runs their program, nor am I inclined or at liberty to speak on what I do know. One thing I know for sure is Lucky said he's good. He's good. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. If you like comedy, if you like to laugh, man, make sure you guys go over to the Collective Clips, which is my other smaller channel, man. I'm telling you guys right now, if you've never listened to a super, you're superly missing out. Superly is the word. I just made it up. This video is sponsored by Vario Liquors in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the Turlock area, slide through to Vario Liquors and get you something icy and cold to drink. Tell Lali I said what's up. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service in Tucson, Arizona. If you're in the Tucson area and you need some yard work done, man, make sure you look out for the small local raza business. Make sure you look out for Sticks and Stones. His number definitely will be right there when you Google it. This is the gun. Bang, bang. I said bang, bang. How many times I got to say bang, bang? Okay, one more time. Bang, bang.